Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's OpenONU Go call. Thanks for joining. As usual, the call is public and recorded and will be shared live on YouTube. So please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share. So first up, a reminder for everybody: 2.9 release is scheduled for December 17th. Code freeze November 26th. That give us about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks of work. So please keep this into account in the effort that you are doing. Then I moved it up a little bit from the schedule last time. I wanted to discuss the force delete on device deletion. And so I invited Ken and Holger to bring this up. So I know that there is a Jira, which is 4421, and also that there is a patch from Holger on this topic, but there was it wasn't really clear to me what the status nor the action items are. What is the expected elements from either the core or the adapter? Because there was a comment from Ken suggesting that we mark the device as deleted when the gRPC connection goes down, but I'm not sure that is the right thing to do. So Ken, Holger, do you want to give us maybe some thoughts, some points of discussion?
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay. Can you will you start? I think we have the same view currently. I hope so. Please start.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So pretty much from the core perspective, like when we delete an OLT adapter, in any delete request, we'll check whether the device is in reconciled state or not. So if the OLT device is not in reconciled, so we'll proceed with the deletion of that device. But because of that, there's a series of callbacks that get executed. And part of that, those callbacks, one action is to delete all the child devices. So we had a scenario where we are trying to delete the child devices, but the child devices were in reconciled state. So we made a change. Instead of doing just a regular delete, is to do a delete force. So the delete force just bypass the reconciled state and send the delete request to the ONU adapter. And then we find that we'll find a scenario where actually when we're deleting the OLTD device, when the callback is get executed to delete the child devices, the gRPC connection between the core and the ONU adapter is not there. So in that scenario, what happened, that request got ignored because there's no connection there. And then once the ONU adapter comes back up, then the first action that the core does is to try to reconcile the device. So then we get in that scenario where the ONU device doesn't get deleted. So my suggestion was that when we don't have a gRPC connection, and this is a callback following an OLT deletion, like when we are having, we are saying that delete all the child devices and the gRPC connection are not there, because the first action was delete force in any case. So what we are going to do is we're going to mark that device as being deleted. It's not deleted, but it's the internal state in the core will be that deleted. And what would that do is, once the connection, the gRPC connection is up with the ONU adapter, instead of just doing a reconcile right away, we're going to look at the device state. If the state is in deleted mode, then we'll issue the deletion command. It will be force delete. If it's not, then it would be the regular reconcile. So that's what I propose to do in the code. Any comments on that?
Yes, and with the patch I delivered, this scenario is already covered. So the ONU adapter would be aware of processing a delete device RPC even if it hasn't received a reconciled device after the restart of the ONU adapter, and it also would be able to cope with a delete device RPC if we are in the middle of the reconcile device RPC. So both of these use cases would be covered with a patch, which is currently a work in progress. And if Kenaidu adds this approach he just explained, then it should be a feasible solution or a working solution, according to my understanding.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you already have something in the ONU adapter to handle the case where a reconcile has not happened and you just get a delete coming in, then that's good. That should fix.
Actually, the only task would then be to delete all the remaining data from the KV store, because we haven't yet reconciled any internal adapter specific structures for this device. So then we would end up with a very really cleaned up system.
Would there be any left over on the actual device, on the ONU device, if a reconciliation didn't happen?
You mean what do you mean when the reconciliation is done after the delete, or what do you mean? It's
what I mean, like, assume we don't do a reconcile, right? But the ONU adapter knows about the device before, so there has potentially, I guess, there would be maybe some flows or whatever that has been present on that device, and then after that, the ONU adapter goes down, comes back up, got a delete, so it doesn't know about that device, so it deletes whatever is in KV store. But is there scenarios where that device itself may have some flaws in it that will be sticking around?
Actually, isn't it ensured that if a device is deleted, then there's some action done by OLT adapter or so to reset the ONU? No, it isn't. No?
I believe not, in the sense that there could be some elements in there, at least the way I understand it. Maybe also Girish can comment on this, but the way I understand is that there could be some stale state in the ONU, yes, but the flows on the OLT will be removed, so the traffic will not flow. And whenever the ONU comes up again, we will do a MIB sync and a MIB audit to it, and we just delete everything at that point. So I believe if that happens, even if that happens, which we are not 100% sure that it does, it's not an issue. But that's my take.
And the first thing would be to do a MIB reset. The MIB reset would be done, and then everything would be deleted when it's come up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when the ONU is deleted, the OLT gets an indication the child device is lost, and we delete the ONU context in the OLT, and we receive a new discovery indication. And on that, when the ONU is activated, the first thing we do is maybe reset, so that would clean up everything.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So that's good.
Okay, so I guess as action items here, there are two of them. One of them is to review the patch from Holger, this one. And then there's a small patch from Ken. We expect a small patch from Ken to bridge that gap that we just described.
Correct? Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Okay.
I marked this patch as work in progress because I would like to test when Ken's solution is available. Then I would like to test it with a patch, and this should then be the criteria to merge it. That's why it's a work in progress currently.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I should have a patch this week.
Okay.
Sorry, what?
Would be nice.
I should have a patch available this week.
Okay.
Andrea, what do you think about the test case for this? Should we provide one or not?
It would be good to have. It really depends on what on Torsten, and if he thinks that this is easy or difficult to do. I also rely on his thoughts.
It's difficult to say a fast answer here now after this lot of information.
Manually, it's not such a big problem. I always tried it. I killed the adapter, and then you have plenty of time, 30 seconds until the gRPC connection is up again. And during this time, you should delete the ULT, and then you will end up in this scenario we currently have. We fail then. Currently, it fails because the reconcile is failing because we can't address any OMSI request towards the ONU anymore because it was deleted. And if we have the solution from Ken and my patches in, then actually the reconcile should be working successfully, hopefully.
So I think it's possible to do it. Yes, of course.
Should we do it in a new suite or test
Not
suite?
sure. Not sure at the moment.
I would probably suggest the reconciling suite, but that's maybe I don't know, just not to create yet another suite.
That's my opinion too, Andrea. I prefer the existing suite.
Yep. Okay, let's do with the existing suite. And thanks both Holger and Ken for the patches and the discussion. I think this is really good stuff. If we have it in, is one more thing that enables us to be in very good shapes in different failure and error scenarios. So this is really good.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any more comments or thoughts on this one? Okay, then if not, I think, Ken, if you're not interested in the rest of the meeting, I think you can drop. Thanks for joining. I don't want to keep you more than than what's needed.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Much appreciated.
No problem. Bye.
Thanks, bye. Okay, so next up, I wanted to get an update from Ozge and the rest of the Netset team on the voice over IP. So how's this going, Ozge?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly fine.
That's great. I had been finished coding last week. Thereafter, I was start hardware testing today. I had been interested with setup to start VoIP testing. After conclusion of VoIP test as a success, then I will share a document with you. It will be included test step about VoIP service. Otherwise, I will send my patch today or tomorrow, but I will mark as a work in progress. When I was when I was finished my test, I will publish everyone.
Okay, will be great. Will be great. Thanks. Okay. I think that also Torsten and Hardik will be interested in reviewing these test cases. So as soon as you have that document, let me know, and we can get that shared with everybody.
Sure, I will share.
Okay, so you said you're testing on hardware today, so that means that you know most of the changes are already in. Me and Andrea had some questions about you know the proto changes. We had some concerns about it. So before you proceed far ahead, you know, like testing on hardware, I think we need to sort out, you know, some of these aspects. Otherwise, there will be too much of a churn in the code, which is not also good for you.
Yeah, I do agree with Girish. If you can check out the comments that we have on the proto changes,
Yeah.
that would be good. So let me put that patch up. So this one
Actually,
Mhm.
no, not this. This
Yeah,
is
no,
not
I know which
about-
one it is. This is actually a closed patch. We are talking about
Yasin patch. I can.
yes, this one.
Yeah. Actually, we are working on this patch also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Yasin didn't send new patch about
Okay.
this, but he will update this patch.
Okay.
You know,
Thanks.
just concerned that you know there will be too much churn once everything is working for you. Then you have to redo the whole thing, retest. Yeah, so that's my only concern. As soon as we can, if you can upload, then you know we can share our comments.
Okay.
Yes. I agree with Girish. Even though what we could do is we could, if it works for you guys, do something like we did for the OpenONU software update, which we did in kind of two steps, meaning a first working prototype, and then an actual better implementation based on the learning of the first prototype. This is the one that is in right now. So let's proceed. Let's see where we get and the timing and all of that, and then we can decide what to do. Okay.
Okay. I take my notes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, the next topic, I think it's done. It's the OMCI libgo update within the OpenONU Go the container. So I think this was done by Michael. Is there any other element that needs to be done, Michael, on this topic, on this one?
Yeah, we had a side discussion that I would like to have a test, an extended test for that, for which I would need to have an extension in BBSIM, because I think it's the easiest way to simulate such OMSI message, which we wanted to allow with the relaxed decoding. So my wish would be to have an extension in the BBSIM that we can use later also in a robot test case to verify if such frames which are not expected yet by the OMSI lib are admitted and handled as normal frames with just some warning statement in the log. So this is something that I also could not test yet because I was missing some means to simulate such OMSI frames. But well, I think that's more or less anyway a theoretical thing. And you mentioned that probably we cannot do this in 2.9 anymore. So maybe it's done later. It's also okay for me.
Yeah, I think that for BBSIM, yes, while this would be a good addition, I believe that we have more important issues that I want to include. For example, if we come to have the support for the plain old telephone service, I would like to have BBSIM integration for that. So while I do agree that this is good to have, I wouldn't say it's a high priority. But the integration of the newest OMCI libgo with the relaxed ME check, that is considered, that can be considered complete.
Yes, I think so.
Very good.
This was also a prerequisite. I guess it was a prerequisite for OSCE and the voice over IP integration, because I think this update of the OMSI lib was also required to have the according needed voice over IP managed entities. So I was a little bit surprised that she was mentioning that she has already done some hardware tests with that, but I don't know. But
Possibly with a local copy. It's not that difficult to do.
I don't know. Well,
Michael, I didn't final my hardware test yet.
Okay, so
I just started.
okay, so I understand. Okay, then. So also for you as a reminder, this OMSI lib update was also required for the voice over IP extension that Chip has brought into the OMSI lib, which probably are needed by your voice over IP code then.
Okay, I will remind this.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I think we can start this out, and let's use it in the implementations that we need. Okay. Also, other two elements that I believe are done is the reconciling issues. Thanks to the patch from Torsten in the tests and some work from Matteo as well. There was some great discussion, and we achieved the fix for this. So that's done. The same holds true for the OpenONU adapter restart issue that was seen in one of our jobs. Holger made a fix for this in a patch, and so that got merged. So that's good and done as well. So thanks to
Andrea,
those.
I haven't closed.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
haven't closed the Jira yet because I couldn't see the working test case because there seems to be some other issues in this Menlo Park verification test. The test wasn't executed until then, right?
Yes. So just for information to everybody, we introduced a little change in our tests, which is that we run the test with the -x option of robot. And what that does is that it effectively fails the whole suite of the test if at the point where the first test fails. So it doesn't even run the other tests. And this is it does a couple of things. One, it shows more red tests, and we have seen that we are more keen to take a look at them, and just plain and simple, it forces us to take more look into the tests. And the second one is that it actually stops the working. It actually stops the suite where the failed test has happened, and so we get the better dump of the state of the test that failed. So that's the reason most likely you have not seen the test run, because some tests failed before that. So we are in a little bit of a position where we are trying to fix all of these tests that are failing. We're doing our best, Matteo and Girish know. So we'll keep the Jira open. That's fine. Thanks for doing that. And as soon as we have it in a working state, we can then go from there.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
question for
Oh,
this.
go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, question for this topic. This was a basic change, which, in my point of view, is also relevant to 2.8. So the question is, do we still intend some activity for the release 2.8 branch? And should we merge this change to there?
That's a good point. I believe this was related in some sense to the move to gRPC. But if you guys believe this could happen in a lesser occurring manner in 2.8 as well, I would be okay backporting this.
Yeah, Holger
Yeah.
can still have a look at it. In my point of view, it is also relevant to 2.8.
Yeah, could be.
Okay. Yeah, Holger, if you think it's worth it to do it on 2.8, make the porting, and we'll include it. We have not, I have to say, we have not seen the issue on 2.8, but it is true that 2.8 in some sense does things in a little bit different time than 2.9, given the gRPC move. So it may be that we just don't see it, but it is lingering there.
Yeah, that is because after the reconciling, when you then do a full configuration cycle again to delete the flows and configure them again, then you would see it. But probably we do not have, or I know that we don't have the tests for this to work again or continue work with the reconciled system that means that we unconfigure and configure all the flows and tech profiles and so on. That would be the use case where you would see it.
Okay, yeah. I think backport it and then we can merge it. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
On the software update front, I know Himani started working on this, on making the CRC check in BBSim. So I don't think there is any update right now. We discussed some tests after the reconciling tests are done, but I believe we are at the full extent of the software download tests, right, Torsten? I don't think there is anything else we need to do.
Can you repeat the last one? Was a little bit.
I was just asking if there is any other test that you think needs to be done in the ONU software update scenarios, because I believe we are in pretty good shape.
We came later to this topic.
Okay.
Test topic. I
Okay.
add something there.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, on the PM counters, there's the little BBSim stuff. Most likely Himan is gonna work on it, and we're gonna return non-random counters so that we can then test it. Before we go to the testing, I see that Matteo has joined, I think, as ONF Zoom 2, or maybe not.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, hey, Theo. Okay. So I know you wanted to bring up an issue that you have seen at scale for the group. Can you go guide us through it a little bit?
Yeah, so this is something I observed last week while doing some run at scale with the new OLT application. And I'm not sure this is something due to the different timing, but I noticed that 2 uniports, I mean, can be 2, 3, 1, depending on the driver, but some uniports are disabled during the ONU activation. And basically the only way a uniport can be disabled in BBSIM is via an OMCI message. So I started taking a look in the adapter, and I noticed that during the TP admin state loop, there are some timeouts for those particular devices. If you scroll down, I added the logs.
Yes, let me do that.
So basically, the last log, the recmon timeout waiting for response retry, that seems to happen during the uni activation, and I was basically wondering if that could cause a uni to be disabled.
Could it be a BBSIM issue that our OMSI request is not answered?
Technically, it can be. I will be surprised if it is BBSIM, because BBSIM is just forging the requests. So it's not doing much with them. I can try to make some runs logging those particular requests in BBSIM to make sure it replies. But regardless of who is dropping those response, can a dropped response cause a port to be disabled?
Matteo, perhaps vice versa. So I'm not sure which kind of log fragment is it at this stage. So is it perhaps at port enabling? So you must know we have two activities in the ONU configuration phase. We first make a disabling of all the UNI ports. And I think after the MIP download, we do the enabling of the UNIs. And if we are here at that point where the ports are enabled and the state machines runs into such timeouts, then of course the processing is aborted and the UNI ports are not correctly released or enabled, let's say it that way.
Yeah,
so it might be that
I see the port going up and then going down.
Okay, that's a little bit different then. So in this case, I guess there should be a real activity that after some port enabling, the port wants to or is disabled again. So and then it does not really fit to the possible reason that you see these OMSI timeouts here. So in my point of view, these OMSI timeouts can have the effect that the ports will never get enabled. But of course, if there are some timeouts on OMSI, you can have several effects, of course. But yeah, if you have seen that the ports have been enabled before, then there must be some system activity in my point of view that requests the disabling of the ports again. There's nothing in the ONU adapter that does it on its own.
Okay. Okay, so there is no timeout, no error that can force a port to be disabled. So it's happening somewhere else.
Yeah. Let me say it to 95%. But yes, I think that's the way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I guess let's do those two steps there. One to log the BBSIM stuff, and then one to analyze better the exact happening of the procedure of the port.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll see if I can trace the full behavior for those ports that are not correctly.
Yeah, the issue is that you cannot really run it at debug level because otherwise it doesn't work. But
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Matteo, that is a nice,
Yeah, it's
nice
test,
exercise
yeah,
for
yeah.
for the module traces. So you could try to enable the tracing just for the log state FSM, which is part of some module, which Holger certainly knows better than me. And then you can enable just the debug level for this module. That should
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, by the way, we have also a description for doing this in the documentation of the in the Git of the ONU adapter.
I actually believe should be also here. Now, not exactly as nice because the table formatting of .md files doesn't really go well with RST, but
This table would be the important part because Matteo would see which name he should
Yeah,
activate.
I can look it up in the repo, don't worry.
so. But Matteo, my proposal here would be to enable the debug level for perhaps better the device handler, which is part of some module. I don't know which, the core module probably, because then you are able to see according activities that activate the log state processing or not. So this is something that you are more interested, I guess.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good point.
The first proof of the solution.
so yeah, Theo, if the documentation doesn't work, you know where to where to ping.
Yeah.
We can always fix it. So it's good suggestions. Thanks, guys. Let's take it further on that front. Anything else? No. Okay. So next up is the testing front. So Thorsten, I think the second point, this reconciling issue, is actually done. On the rest, I'll let you take the lead.
First, yes, you're right. This is done. Then to the software upgrade test, the first, I think we should sign it as done too. But the BBSIM correction is still open. But when Matteo has find time to correct this or to implement this, I think some test cases will fail. And then we have a trigger to adapt the test cases according to the changes in BBSIM.
Okay.
This is already done.
Yeah.
And the next topic is this one I added. I changed the named Jira here. There is a list of a few test cases where I'm working on currently. Some are already done, but currently I have some issues with the port forwarding for the web server in the BBSIM. As a port forwarding, yes, for the web server port in BBSIM. That's a correct issue, but I'm good in progress, and at the moment it looks good. Maybe I will finish this test today or in the morning tomorrow, and so I will go on with the last two tests in the next days, and hopefully I can finish all this stuff at the end of this week.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Okay.
Yes. And if it's running in master, then we can merge it to 2.8.
Yes, with the existing caveat that I always we can backport the tests. It's okay for me to backport tests. I just want to make sure that we are backporting tests that actually make sense and like do not produce false issues in the 2.8. But
It's,
again, whenever you have the test, let's take a look at that, and
yes.
for sure we can decide what to do with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Any question for Torsten on this topic? Okay. You guys have any update on the 6.1.11 or the other OpenONU?
Actually, we about to test locally. We just installed a new test bed for to come across of this issue. There's one assumption, one hypothesis that it could be related to the fact that if we start the ONU when it was already started before, then we do not do a MIP upload cycle, and so the timing is completely different. And assumption from Michael was that probably the enabling of the ONU comes too early in this case, because we just after the MIP reset and some queries, we just already enable try to enable the port. Probably this is too early. So our idea is to bring up this testbed in the working mode, and then to modify the ONU adapter load in the matter in the kind that we will wait some time before we enable the port and see if it helps.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But it's actually it's a hypothesis. We will have to have a look at it.
Sure. Well, it's good that you guys are bringing up the test bed so that we can so that you can test this. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Very good. And then I guess no update on the XGS pawn one.
Not from my side, no.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that was the end of the agenda for today. Any other comments or questions that you guys have? Okay, then if not, we can get about 15 minutes back, and let's continue great work and chat on Slack and the mailing list. I'll publish the recording. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.